clearly generosity is so important to you as a couple, to you individually, to you as your family. How are you doing it? How are you encouraging that in your kids? You've got 3 kids. They're seeing you be generous. Talk to us about how.
I'll talk about the younger, and she can talk about the older. But as kids, when they were 8, 9, 10 years old, maybe the girls were 7 or 8, and Nathan was 9 or 10. But we did Patrick Lencioni's 3 Questions for a Frantic Family. And it helped us to develop a mission statement for our family. And in that, we started a weekly meeting with the family, with the kids at lunch after church, right? Okay. So it was simple. Don't want it to sound too formalized, but we had a little notebook. We kept track of their chores. We gave them payment or wages for their chores. And out of that, as soon as we handed it out, we had these 3 banks. It was a store bank, a bank, and a church bank. And so we taught them to divide a third.
Save, spend, give.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So we did that for several years, and just ingraining in them, when I receive income, it's split. It's not all mine just to do with it what I want. Whether they choose to go to a 10% or they choose to do more than that in their giving, whatever it is, we just wanted that concept. So we kind of started early building that into them. And
we would pull that money together and take all the giving money out of all the bank and put it in a jar, and we called it the giving jar. And then we had different times children would come and say somebody didn't have a backpack at school, or somebody didn't have pencils, or different things like that. And we set parameters on it. We said what the ways that we give, or the parameters that we put on giving, we kind of put it on that we didn't want to just give to anything. It needed to be faith-based, basically, or loving and helping others.
And we would secretly add to the jar, too, right?
Don't tell all our secrets.
Yeah, I know. They're old enough now, they can hear it.
But then now, as they're older, it's like, what can we do? How can we help? And how can we still involve them in giving also? And from that they've become we take a portion of money that we're going to give away every year, and we've asked them, what are organizations as adults now that are meaningful to you? And again, the same parameters, faith-based and so forth, that we've put on our giving still uphold for the organizations that they choose. And it's just been neat to see different places of where they want to give back, and but involving them also in the giving still today.
One of the things I hear from my kids as I'm trying to teach them that value of generosity is, I can't afford to give.
Sure.
How do you wrestle with that? How do you teach them they can? They can't afford not to give. How do you teach them that?
You model it. You talk about it. We're doing the giving jar, and we would say, Sunday lunch, we're starting that meeting. What did you guys see this week? You ask enough times, they start looking, and then they didn't even need to be asked. They'd say, hey, do you think we could buy a backpack out of this? That was then, it was still, in their minds, it was their money. So they're training their brain to say, hey, this is how I do things. And, we've got 2 daughters and a son that are at very different levels of income, but still their heart is, I start with a default mindset that this is God's money, and I'm going to give out of that. And so you can't make them do anything. Now, you have a semblance of control at 8, 9, 10 years old. But at 20-something, you've lost control. It's just, you've launched them, and it's what's God put on their heart.